Welcome to Behind the Scene with author James Kelly. For the next 60 minutes, we'll introduce you to the producers, directors, singers, dancers, and stagehands that bring every show to life. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free 1-866-820-KLAV. Now, let's go behind the scenes and bring on the host. Here's James Kelly.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes with your host, James Kelly, here on KLAV 1230 AM on the dial. You can view us on YouTube at youtube.com/aspects of writing and just click on the featured button. My guest for today's show is Charles Georcaris, and the director of the Nevada Film Office, and Ed Harran, the assistant director. And in addition to that, Don Lewis Barnhart has joined us in the studio as well as a co-host. Hello, Don.
Hello, James.
Since this is a fairly new show, I would like to take the time to let the listeners know that every other week we will go behind the scenes of the movies, events, shows, and more. We will talk to the people who bring it all to life: stagehands, artists, producers, directors, actors, dancers, writers, singers. Together, my guests and I will take an informative look at what it takes to produce what the world wants to see, as well as the history and how it all came about. Behind the Scenes will broadcast live here on KLAV every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, alternate my other show, Aspects of Writing. Thank you, Ed and Charles and Don, for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to start with Charles. Charles, if you would, can you give us a little bit of your background and how you ended up at the Nevada Film Office?
Sure. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
I actually started as a filmmaker. I began making films in Chicago and started out there in the 1980s and actually ran into the Chicago Film Office at work one day. I saw them, a helicopter about to land on LaSalle Street and all this chaos and police cars and fire engines and the streets all blocked off. And it's like, who is doing all this? How can all this be done? And to me, it was fascinating. I knew behind the scenes how to set up, to shoot and actually direct and everything. But I was wondering, how do you do all that logistical work? So I became very interested and actually started working with the Chicago Film Office. And then eventually came here to Nevada and took over the office in 1998.
Oh, okay. And Ed, how about your background and how did you become involved with the Nevada Film Office?
Well, I have a wife at home, and if I don't say hi to my daughter Gracie
please
first,
do.
I'm sorry. Hi, Pumpkin Pie, love you. So I had to get that out of the way of the business.
Wait a minute. Pumpkin Pie was my nickname.
My daughter and Don are both nicknamed Pumpkin Pie.
Thank you.
I started off in front of the camera, and then I've always been very creative with writing. And I started off in Las Vegas actually writing a lot of commercials, but they were the cheesy kind of commercials. I did a lot of cheesy spots in this town, but they had a great shelf life, and it was Happy Harry and all those cheesy commercials, car commercials and casino commercials. But I got involved with the creative side, and then I came to the Nevada Film Office and joined Charlie, and we're really making a difference in bringing productions into the state of Nevada.
And we thank you for that. And how long has the Nevada Film Office been around?
It's been actually 30 years. It started 1982, and it's most film offices started in the 80s. Every state pretty much has a film office,
okay,
and they're all there trying to track business to their locales. And Nevada has actually one of the oldest, though.
Okay. And do you know who was instrumental in creating the film office?
It came from economic development, and I believe, I really am not sure actually the person involved, but what was happening was throughout the country there was kind of a domino effect. Colorado had the first film office, and then Illinois in 1976. I think what was happening was people in economic development at the different state levels realized this is something that was very beneficial to the states to have an office in place trying to attract the productions, because with it comes job creation and obviously tremendous revenue, as well as tourism benefits too.
I don't think a lot of people realize that Nevada was actually the first site for the world's first big blockbuster movie.
That's
it was.
Correct. It's the Corbett-Fitzsimmons fight that happened in Carson City,
and who won?
Nevada. It was Fitzsimmons. It was an uppercut punch to the gut and knocked out Corbett, I think, in the 14th round. But it was a blockbuster for that time. I think there were 3 cameras on that shoot. At the time was a huge production.
It played the Nickelodeon circuit. Yeah, it was a big hit around the country on the Nickelodeon circuit.
And that was in 1897.
1897.
It didn't outgross Avatar, though, so that number is safe.
Well, back to today's standards, maybe it did.
Maybe.
No 3D.
All right, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Behind the Scenes with your host, James Kelly, here on KLAV in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world. We can be heard live on the internet at 1230am.com on your computer, and we are streaming live on WordPress, Google+, Tumblr, Facebook and YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/aspects of writing. That's all one word. And click on the featured button on your player. My guests today are Charles Georcaris and Ed Harran from the Nevada Film Office, and Don Lewis Barnhart is here joining us in the studio as well.
Yep.
What's going on, Don?
Well, with me personally,
Yeah.
would you like to hear about my?
Maybe not.
Would you like to hear about my dog and our nightly routine?
I think we just saw each other Sunday on a show.
Yes, we did. I've had more airtime than a bird. I mean,
Don-
it's unbelievable.
You have a show here on KLEV as well called Behind the Scenes with Don Lewis Barnhart.
No, it's not called Behind the
Oh,
Scenes.
I'm sorry.
That's yours.
That's mine. I'm sorry. Don.
I'll wrestle you for it if you want.
That's okay.
No, it's called Bring It On
I'm
with
with Barnhart.
Barnhart at 6 o'clock on Friday nights. What I've got going seriously is we're trying to work up a film here in this town. It's called Vegas Wedding Blues. So obviously the film will not be shot in Fargo. It'll be shot here in Las Vegas, and we have plans. Hopefully, we think the money is forthcoming, which is always a disaster when it falls out. You guys know that. And my partner Skip Burrows, he will be functioning as the producer, and I'm functioning as the writer and director. And the budget's set. We know who we'd like to have as a cast, and we figure that we can shoot the whole doggone thing right here in Las Vegas.
That's music to our ears.
Yeah, we love to hear that.
And we're also going the musical route. It's called Vegas Wedding Blues. Therefore, blues will be the functioning music all the way through it of one sort or another. And obviously there will be a song called Vegas Wedding Blues. And we got a band coming in, and it's a whole thing. And we're very excited about it. Whether we can take this over the fence is another story. But we think it's very close. Papers are being traded back and forth, and we've been doing this thing for about 7 or 8 years, and working on it and going through different economic possibilities and crashes, and all of a sudden it got real, and so that's where we are.
Oh, that's great.
That's one of the things the film office loves to do, is to hear productions like that, and it's our job to make their life easier when they do come here to shoot or stay here to shoot in Nevada, because we want to help them find crew, find facilities to do their post, and that's our job, is to not only promote the state of Nevada as a film and production destination, but once they come in to shoot, to get them to hire locals and use local facilities.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to ask you is the role in the Nevada Film Office. I mean, I know that you can call and you can actually register your movie. In fact, I think it's required that if you're shooting in Nevada, you have to register with the Nevada Film Office.
That's
Well,
correct,
we're not
yes.
going to do that. We're just going to run around, and hopefully somebody will,
just tell them to their face, Don.
we're going to do it, okay, boys?
Guerrilla shooting. Thank you very much. That's fantastic.
And we're going to wear camouflage outfits too.
So anyway, that's important for people to know that, and it's free, I believe, to register. Is that
it is
correct?
free. Yeah,
All right.
and it's
Thanks,
not it's not a regulatory agency. It's just a matter of having records of who's shooting where. We average about 400 productions that come in annually. So I mean, there's pretty much somebody shooting somewhere in the state in some place, and because we have so much territory, so much room here in the state, it's quite interesting. We have people up in ghost towns filming, people on dry lakes, people at, in Valley of Fire up in the Lake Tahoe area, and so forth. So, and as Eddie was saying, I mean, we're here to help people. That's what film offices do. They really help filmmakers. On one end, we're trying to promote, obviously, bringing more projects here, trying to get as much production here because of the benefits, as I mentioned. But also, we enjoy working with filmmakers and helping them in all these different areas. And we just had a young NY film
NYU
student, just called us yesterday. He's trying to get into an area up in northern Nevada to do some filming, and we work with people with no budgets, students that have just a student project. We work with the major feature films, still photographers, people shooting documentaries, industrials, music video people. So for us, it's really a joy for us to be able to help people and try to get them cutting through red tape and getting them the ability to kind of get their dream on screen.
And we are the Nevada Film Office, not the Las Vegas Film Office. So like Charlie said, we cover the entire state of Nevada.
And that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. So I was reading in your directory that there's a line between what's considered downtown and what's considered the boulevard. Because I know there's filming on the boulevard where you don't necessarily have to have a permit if the hotel owns that part of the sidewalk or whatever? Or?
Yeah, that's a little confusing for filmmakers, but we have great cooperation from the city of Las Vegas and also Clark County. And as you go south of Sahara, you fall into Clark County's jurisdiction. North of Sahara, you're into the city of Las Vegas. And they're really great people in both areas that help the filmmakers out. And they kind of guide them as to like whose sidewalk has jurisdiction. So you can, if you are working with a property, a casino property, you'd have to kind of work with them if you're on certain areas. And then certain areas of the sidewalks are also part of Clark County itself. So everybody kind of works together to kind of help the filmmakers. So it's really not that bad.
It's a good thing that Oscar is not the mayor anymore, because then you don't have to have him in the picture in
order to film.
He is
in
a
order
proud
to film. Yeah, you're going down and it's a shootout and you got cars going here and there, and all of a sudden around the corner here comes Oscar walking down the street. I mean, you don't have to do that anymore, do you?
Well, he's a proud SAG card
He
holder.
Well, he is,
and
yeah.
He shows the SAG card to it.
And he's
So-
quite good. He was good in CSI. He's quite
yeah.
good.
No, he is
Casino.
good.
Yeah, Casino was a
Oh,
start.
Casino was great.
But he's in everything. I mean,
Well, I'm going to throw a question towards Ed. Let's just say I'm an independent, wanting to shoot an independent film here in Las Vegas. What would be the process that you would suggest that someone go through to try and get that off the ground?
Well, the first step is to call the film office. And, like Charlie said, we love the big blockbusters, of course, but helping out the small independent filmmakers, I mean, we are very film friendly for all filmmakers. Like Charlie said, it's the college student who has no money or the small indie. And we have very, very film friendly locations. So what we do is we take a script and we can do a script breakdown. We can help them find locations. We can help them with the permitting process, the insurance requirements, getting cooperation from other government entities, like Charlie said. And it's just our job to help these filmmakers. And that's what we want to do. We want to help young filmmakers, and we also want to incubate filmmakers in Nevada. So all the projects are shot in Nevada. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm. And I know the film office does far more than just movies. As a matter of fact, probably there's more commercial shot here, and things further in the behind the scenes with industrial and
Yeah, in television, we become like the king of reality, good or bad. It's a situation that it's kind of taken off to the point where it's, everything is kind of set reality-wise, but it's still production-wise, and we call ourselves, it's the film office, but you're right, it's all types of productions, and we've just, with television, everything wants, so many of the networks and programmers, they want to be, setting projects here, and it's exciting for them to have that set here. I think it's one of those things that I like to say kind of gets the for them it gets them like a ratings kind of boost when it's got Vegas in the title and it's set here, and it's for them it's exciting, and it's all those different types of productions. So for us, one day we could be helping out a major feature film from a studio. We have a studio right now in town scouting a major a project that's going to be set for next year in 2013. And then we also had a young kid who just walked in the door into our office a couple days ago who has an independent feature film. And we sat down and we're helping him. And he had no idea that we were, all of our services are free, so we're able to help people, and there's no cost for that.
that's fantastic, Doc.
and I understand there's a new reality show coming in called Swap Your Showgirl. Is that true?
I have not heard Swap Your Showgirl.
Oh,
Don, was that a dream you had or what?
well, when you go home and you have Jack on the rocks, and you have one too many, and your dog Jack is lying in the bed with you, your mind starts to wander. And,
Well-
I think it did on that one.
Needless to say, you can kind of get an idea what his scripts are about.
Absolutely.
And he has 4, so it should be interesting. All right. How does Hollywood really play into the picture here? I mean, I know that for a long time, Vegas has been trying to get, cooperation with Hollywood as filming. And we have 300 days of great weather for, to be filming in. So Charles, how would that play into the picture with Hollywood?
Well, Hollywood's here right now filming a major film with Michael Douglas and Matt Damon about the life story of Liberace. And the one that's scouting that I mentioned is here also. It's a major studio with us this week scouting for the production in 2013. So Hollywood is here. They've been here in the past, and it's a situation I think they'll be here in the future. Our close proximity to Los Angeles is a huge benefit. I mean, they're able to fly stars in very quickly. They're able to move very quickly since we're so close to them. In terms of like additional projects, obviously we'd like to have have every project, but it's a situation where it's very, very competitive with different states and even countries. And we were just in Los Angeles on a sales trip and talking to some of the locals in Los Angeles, and they were complaining that there was really nothing going on in Los Angeles. So many of the projects are leaving Los Angeles. So we're happy when we get the projects that we do. And again, we are greedy. We want as much as possible. And we're a very proactive office, much more so than most film offices. Most just kind of wait for the phone to ring. We are very proactive with trade shows. We're out around the country trying to meet filmmakers, young, old, it doesn't matter. We're trying to plant seeds for the future. Oftentimes we'll get a phone call like Eddie just got recently where a producer said, I met you guys 2 years ago at a trade show event. Now I have my funding. Now I'm ready to go. So we love to hear that, and we put together some great materials that we put out in terms of our production directory materials that really are our calling card to kind of get the industry very interested in coming here. And it's promoting everything really beyond the neon too. We have so many beautiful locations that once they find out we have beyond the neon, it's great too.
We even attend a trade show for writers. It's called Ink Tip, to get them to write about Nevada. So that's how proactive our office is to attract productions to the state.
Yeah, no other film office does that.
And you probably have a big following worldwide too, as far as people interacting with you, like Toronto, which is huge in films now.
And the UK and Asia, yeah. We have a lot of foreign productions that come in, and they like the ease of filming here. And again, it's a thing where we see a lot of repeat business from the foreign markets.
Don, did you have a question?
No, I'm just sitting here thinking about Jack Daniels.
I'll wake you up.
I'm just as usual. Well, just keep nudging me there, Jimmy boy, because I love you when you nudge.
All right, so we already discussed the fact that television and documentaries are a key role here. When it comes to shooting your independent films here, I think there's probably a huge increase in independent films recently in the last few years.
Oh, absolutely. The equipment, because it's become so affordable for young filmmakers. When I was making films, my God, shooting on film, you don't have to shoot on film now. So it's something where they can get cameras now cheaper, and they're able to go out and shoot, and it's fun for them. It's you can tell the excitement, and they're coming up with so many different story ideas and storylines, and we encourage and really enjoy the young filmmakers, as we mentioned, especially the independents, and a lot of times, as we mentioned with the New York student, we see a lot of student filmmakers wanting to come here and use Nevada locations because they've written something specific for us, which kind of brings us to the fact that we have the oldest screenplay competition of its kind in the country.
Oh, wow.
And it's one that's going in its 25th year, and we ask people, they write from around the world, and it's a situation where they have to write 75% of the locations have to be written for Nevada. So we have people all over the world writing about our state, which in turn, of course, it has more attention being paid to our state. And a couple of years ago, I think a kid from London won the contest who wrote about Area 51, and it was a sci-fi thing, but they write about the ghost towns, and they write about the gambling stories, and obviously a lot of fun things.
And I believe it's free for Nevada residents.
It is free for Nevada
that's
residents.
fantastic. Yeah. How involved are you with the show, the big productions that go on in town, like let's say Phantom or V at Planet Hollywood? Or
we really don't have much to do with those types of shows, although some of the professional crews that work on films and other productions kind of work both sides. They can work stage as well. So, but no, we really don't have much to do with those types of productions.
Yeah, the only thing we see is that sometimes the producers, the people of the shows, will call for our production directory because it lists all the technical people in the industry. Correct. And they do cross over in that area because we have all the lighting companies, all the people that do props, all the people makeup, and so there is that nice crossover for that part.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Behind the Scenes with your host, James Kelly, here on KLAV in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world. We are live on the internet at KLAV1230am.com and on your radio, 1230 AM on the dial. My guests today are Charles Georcaris and Ed Harran and Don Lewis Barnhart. And Don, you have anything to add right now? I expected that.
Do I have anything to add? I was thinking about what you said. I think it was Eddie that brought this up. I could be wrong. It could be Charles. But nevertheless, there are people coming in from Los Angeles working here because obviously, I'm talking crews. I'm talking about construction folk and makeup and hair, and they're moving here. They're living here. And there's quite a few, and they bring a lot of talent. And you don't have to. And one of the blessings, if you're doing a picture here, which, like I said, my partner Skip and I are trying desperately to do, They live here, which cuts down on a lot of other stuff, which is hotels
Per diem,
and per diems and things of that nature, which saves the budget a whole bunch of money.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
a great point. It
And
really
I
is.
think that the director of the picture should scarf on that. Should take some of that money away from them and use it for my own self. That was my intent, but I guess I couldn't do that, and they're going to fire my butt. So
No, it's a great point. I mean, we tell people or
yeah.
tell productions when they come here, all they need to do is just bring themselves. We have great professional crews here. We have great production facilities, post-production facilities. We have great camera crews. We have really everything you need. So we tell crews just to bring themselves.
I would imagine that when we get ready and the money's in the bank and we go through all that, I'm sure Skip and I will be paying you guys a visit
Well, we look forward to it.
and go from there.
One of the things I wanted to bring up also was the SAG. How does SAG play into the film office?
Well, we really, a film office has some misconceptions. I think everyone thinks that, we're have a lot to do with actors. We really don't have much to do with actors. We do have a hotline. It's 702-486-2727. And some actors can look there for some information on if there's any kind of go-tos or anything like that. But to be honest, we really don't do much with actors. In our production directory, which we talked about, which is sort of like a yellow pages for producers and directors when they come in from out of town to shoot, we do have a list of casting agencies, casting directors, casting facility, casting notices, talent agencies, and people can find the talent on there at our directory or online at nevadafilm.com. But as far as hey, can you get me a job as an extra, or can you get me a job in the Don Barnhart story starring him?
Starring Don Barnhart.
Starring Barnhart.
Don Lewis.
Devon-
Don
I'm
Lewis
sorry.
Barnhart.
Don
I'm
Lewis.
sorry about
Let's
that.
get the
And
names right.
no, but I only say that because I have a son who's a stand-up comedian, and he goes by Don Barnhart.
okay.
So I'm just differentiating because some people
No,
get
it's true.
confused. So.
But no, we cannot help you get a role in the next movie, but we do have our production director that helps these actors find work.
Yeah, a lot of people think that though, the film offices, that it's the talent end of it, and it's really not. It's more the production end of it.
Okay.
Except for the fact that, as Eddie mentioned, the talent agencies, casting agencies.
Well, they certainly have a wide variety of choices
Yeah.
of people, and when it's almost like one-stop shopping in a way. If the producers and directors and whomever use that facility and the knowledge that you guys bring to it, that's a blessing, because you can say, well, this is what I need. That's what I need. I need it here. I need it there, and then you guys, instruct the producer people to go out and find it. To go out and get them.
Yeah,
And it's all about money. I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, if I've got the money, you've got the experience to point me in the right direction.
Exactly.
If I don't have the money, then we're all just spinning wheels here, and you go on to the next guy because that's what your job is. My job is to come up with the money and then shoot the picture.
Everyone thinks making the film is the hard project, but funding it and then distribution, those are the tough parts.
Yes, it is.
What would you suggest for someone trying to fund their project? Where would you suggest they go?
Don Lewis Barnhart.
That was a very good answer. I mean, it was very quick.
And his dog.
His dog, Jack.
My dog is going to be in the picture, too. Free, of course, but he will be in the picture.
Well, I will say this. Charlotte Evans had a young man on this morning who shot an independent film here in Las Vegas. And one of the things he did is he went to Kickstarter to actually get funding for the independent film. And I was going to ask both Ed and Charles, do you have any experience with how they go about that? I mean,
I have not. I mean, there's new funding sources like that springing up all over, and I just actually was talking to somebody about it a few weeks ago that's an area where people were talking about trying to get grants in that it's a situation where some of these new sources like the one you mentioned are very beneficial for the independent filmmakers. But as Eddie mentioned, I mean, it's being in those shoes and trying to put that piece together is really the hardest part. And even accomplished directors like Albert Brooks, I was reading not too long ago on one of his films. He's directed so many wonderful films over the years. He had to go and try to find the funding and put the pieces together for him to direct the film. So it's a situation where it really is still the hardest part.
Well, as you well know, there are so many deal breakers in this business that we're in. You get a new director, and he's got a great script, and he goes down to, let's pick one, Warner Brothers, And Warner Brothers says, this is a great script. We really like it. Where are you going to shoot it? Well, we're going to go up to Nevada. Okay, and we can save a few bucks there. But you say you're going to direct it? And he says, well, that's what I plan on doing. I wrote it. And he says, no, we got a director that we want to use.
Oh, yeah.
And you say, well, wait a minute. I mean, I wrote the doggone thing. Give me a shot at it. And I've directed television. I've been around the block. I've parked in a couple of garages, actually. And
I'm sure you have.
you're going to take this down the line, are you? Anyway, so, they make a deal breaker. Say, well, if you want your film made, somebody else is going to direct it. And the poor guy is now sitting in a cabin somewhere, threatening suicide because he wrote the picture and, they take it away from him. So it's a fight. It's a continuous fight no matter really what side you're on. And if you're the higher up you go, the easier it is for them to bust you out. So, I mean, guys like you that, kind of fight for the production team and things like that is very beneficial.
Well, we appreciate you saying that. I mean, Charlie and I are very, very passionate about trying to bring production into the state of Nevada as well as the entire staff of the Nevada Film Office. So we appreciate hearing that from you.
Well, it's difficult. I mean, it's really difficult. This is not an easy business. People think, well, you just make a picture. Okay, well, we'll just make a picture. Now we got to get the money. Big mouth. Oh, okay, well, I'll go out and get the money, and they say, well, who are you? Well, I'm Don Lewis Barnhart. Not Don Barnhart.
There we go.
Yeah, Don Lewis Barnhart. Fine, gotcha. You directed many, many, many television shows. Yes, I did. You worked with Robin Williams. Yes, I did. And he spit on me. But that's another story, and we'll talk about that later. But the point being is you got the experience. A director is a director is a director is the way I look at it. And the picture may have big action scenes, which you would go out and get action director, second unit, and do all that kind of stuff. But me as trying to do my movie is very difficult, and we fall on your graces. I mean, we really do, because if we tick you off, we're nowhere. We can get it done perhaps, but we're still.
And he's from Jersey. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, shoot.
There goes that. There
I'm
goes
scared now.
Oh, gosh, Eddie is from Jersey.
I got a bat. I'm not calling him pumpkin pie anymore.
So are
I
we going
kinda liked
to
it,
see your
actually.
picture down at the Mob Museum someday? Or all right, we're going to take a short break here right now, and then when we come back, I'm going to bring up the topic of funding again, and I'm going to share a show that Don and I shared at once with someone who actually got her funding through crowdfunding.
Oh,
All right, we'll talk about that. Hi, this is James Kelly inviting you to join me for Behind the Scenes every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. here on KLAV as I talk with the people behind the scenes of Las Vegas's biggest shows, events, and motion pictures. Together, my guests and I will explore what it takes to turn a concept into a reality. I will introduce you to directors, producers, dancers, singers, actors, stagehands, and more. That's Behind the Scenes every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. here on KLAV.
Hey everyone, this is Julie Lascano.
And James Kelly.
Join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. for the Pooch with Style Show, a new and exciting show where every week we will be interviewing animal professionals and discussing the interesting world of animals, including products and information about your beloved pets. So this is Pooch with Style every Sunday at 6 p.m. here on KLAV.
Who has more fun than the crazy guru? It's Pooch with Style, Sunday nights at 6.
We don't have a board of directors. It requires us to make a profit. What we're all about is caring for America's heroes.
Administrator Gary Burmasolo speaking about the Nevada State Veterans Home in Boulder City. Their dream team of caring professionals provides skilled nursing care to veterans and their spouses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Nevada State Veterans Home provides more than just clinical care.
All those little extra things that make it home-like. And we have all kinds of activities going on for these residents. Our physical therapy and occupational therapy programs don't run 5 days a week. They run 7 days a week. We have a social worker on each wing plus a social work supervisor. And we have a volunteer coordinator. We even have a service officer. So it truly is a dream team.
To find out if you qualify to live here, contact admissions at 702-332-6717 or on the web at veterans.nv.gov. Then come home to the Nevada State Veterans Home. We are caring for America's heroes.
So, do you want to be on the radio with a guy that's been around the block a few times and parked in a couple of garages? Well, now you can, rubbing shoulders with a man that's been in the entertainment business for nearly 50 years. Oh my, the stories. Barnhart is hosting a new show right here on KLAV Radio called Bring It On with Barnhart, where you get the lowdown on the city's performers, writers, and comics. Barnhart begins the madness Friday nights at 6, dinner time, right in the middle of your first helping of mashed potatoes. Don't miss it, Friday nights at 6 as Barnhart brings it on.
Hi, this is James Kelly inviting you to join me every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. for my show, Aspects of Writing. On the show, my guests and I will offer advice on every aspect of writing, from how to start a project to formatting and funding your project, all the way to getting it published and promoted. The purpose of this show is to expose new writers as well as to inspire and offer guidance. My guests include experts from every genre of the writing industry. So come join us as we explore what it takes to write. That's Aspects of Writing every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. And remember, if you can dream it, you can write it. Hi, this is James Kelly inviting you to join me for Behind the Scenes every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. here on KLAV as I talk with the people behind the scenes of Las Vegas's biggest shows, events, and motion pictures. Together, my guests and I will explore what it takes to turn a concept into a reality. I will introduce you to directors, producers, dancers, singers, actors, stagehands, and more. That's Behind the Scenes every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. here on KLAV.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes, your backstage pass to some of the most exciting shows in Las Vegas. Now, here again, your host, author James Kelly.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're listening to Behind the Scenes you are listening to Behind the Scenes with James Kelly, I hope. Here on KLAV.
I love it when you drink.
Don went and got us some Jack while we were on break.
Yeah, God bless the Jack.
We can be heard live here on KLAV 1230 AM on the dial, and also at KLAV1230am.com on your computer. And again, we do stream live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/aspects of writing, all one word, and click on the feature button, and you can see us in the studio. My guests today are Charles Georcaris, and we also have Ed Harran and Don Lewis Barnhart. Hello, Don.
Hello. I was going to start applauding, but I think that's a little bit late, huh?
It's pumpkin, right?
Oh, that my daughter's is pumpkin pie, and
I thought Don was pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin
no,
pie.
I'm more like radish something. I have no idea.
All right, Ed and Don are here for the Nevada Film Office, and I wanted to ask them what exactly is in your directory. What's the purpose of that directory?
The purpose is to really showcase the great people that we have and the great vendors all throughout the state. So it's a listing of all of the people, everything from A to Z, from people that provide any kind of services to the industry. And for a producer, it's like a yellow page. So it's the first thing that they want to use. When you go into any state, pretty much you're looking for that state's production directors. You can find the available talent. And as Don mentioned, when you can go into an area and not have to bring all those people, that's a huge benefit for your cost savings. So having a listing of all the individuals for producers is a key, and for us, we love the idea that it gets a lot of people business. It brings a lot of business to our vendors and individuals.
Well, I mean, I said that. But, I've put my life in jeopardy. You know that. Because if I go to California, I'm dead. Trying to get all these people to stay up here and move, live. I'm dead.
They're going to say, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
They say, "What happened to Don Lewis Barnhart?" He said, "Well, they hung him in Prim." I mean, that's what it's going to be.
Now we understand a certain point that are going to bring a lot of keys into, because our proximity to LA helps us obtain a lot of production or get a lot of production. So they're going to bring in some keys, but we want them to hire as many locals and use as many local vendor services as possible.
And I think what's important is in your directory, just so people will know, if you're trying to get an independent film off the ground, and if you just moved to the Las Vegas area, you need to understand with the film office, you're going to have a whole list of producers, from line producers to everything. You have your casting crew, you have lighting,
grips, gaffers,
agents,
catering, craft services,
makeup,
honey wagons, whatever you need.
Where can they get that directory?
They can get it by phoning us at 702-486-2711, or coming by our office, which is at 6655 West Sahara and it's in Suite C106, and it's available for free. And if you want to call, we'll definitely be happy to mail one out to you. And it's also available online. We have an electronic version at www.nevadafilm.com.
Okay. And just so everyone will understand, if you've been here a while, like I used to think the film office was down off of North Las Vegas Boulevard, you've recently moved to this location.
That's correct, James. Yes, we just moved on May 1st out a little bit west, and it's a great location for us. And we're finding with filmmakers and people in the community, it's more convenient for them. So it's something that's been real beneficial. And getting back real quick to the director, like Eddie was saying, it really is. It's the key number one item, and it's really the first thing that they're using. And when we go to the studios, when we go on any sales trips, and any of the big trade shows, it's distributed by the hundreds to individuals, so that they're able to find everything they need.
And we're going to go off topic just a little bit to talk about funding. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's a lot of independent film people trying to get something going and don't know how to get the funding. And with today's internet, you can actually go out on the internet and you can find what's called crowdfunding. And Dawn was on a show with me where we had a young lady on named Jocelyn Towns. And Jocelyn is in LA, but she actually went on Kickstarter, and she had someone who was going to do angel financing. And angel financing is someone who will match the funds that you get. So because it's a small independent film, she put her project on Kickstarter and raised $111,000.
Wow.
So that actually gave her, $222,000 to now shoot her independent film.
That's fantastic.
And actually that film is in post-production right now and will be released next month.
Awesome.
So, and she did all this from Kickstarter. And to understand what crowdfunding is when you put your project out there and you say, I'm not looking to sell anything, but what I'm doing is I'm looking for funding. Will you donate? And you can donate $5, $10, $20. And every time you donate something, if it's $20, let's say you might get a copy of the DVD when the film's finished. For $50, you may get a mention, for having donated to the project. And it just goes on and on from there. And probably the two biggest out there right now on the internet is Kickstarter.com and Indiegogo.com. And anybody can set up a funding site. You don't have to have any credentials, but the problem with it is, the only problem I foresee, and this is just for some people, you have to be very aggressive because you have to go out there and get your friends and family involved to get that funding and let people know on your Facebook or wherever that you're doing this project. Otherwise, who's going to come and donate the money? And with Kickstarter, you do have to meet your goal. You set a goal as to what you need. Like Jocelyn had a $100,000 goal. Had she not met that $100,000 goal, she would have gotten none of the funding. But if you do it with Indiegogo, they offer you both options, where you keep what you get or you go for a goal. So this is just for the independents out there. And this isn't just for films. Don and I are both authors as well. This is for authors as well if you're trying to produce a book or whatever.
And then when you get the funding for your project, please call the Nevada Film Office, and we'll help you.
I knew this was going to lead into somewhere.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I had a Kickstarter program in my home when my former wife said, you get out there and you do something, and I'm going to kickstart you right out the front door. and that was about as close as I got to a kickstarting program. So I just stayed home and wrote books, and it seemed to turn out all right.
No, those avenues you mentioned are outstanding for independence, and it's something that I wish was around many years ago when I was making films and looking for ways to do that. Everything with the internet now has changed completely. Even distribution now, you're able to now have so many shows that are being viewed in many different avenues.
And the film festivals. I
Sure.
mean, how involved with the film festival are you, or at all?
Yeah, it depends really on how they want to interlink with us. I mean, there's like over 15, I think, in the state right now, everywhere.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's so many. I mean, they're north, south, everywhere. And some really want us to be active in it, and some want to just kind of go off and do their own thing. And a lot of times we help them just mainly publicizing the event.
Yeah, we help them publicize, and we would really love to, have some of them that showcase Nevada filmmakers. I mean, that's what we want to
I think a lot
get
of
behind.
Yeah, I think a lot are starting to do that now, and it's one of those situations where if they want that publicity we have between our hotline and distribution areas, we're able to kind of get the word out for them to kind of spread the news. And we have a section on film festivals in our directory, which is also online. It kind of hot links them for free and kind of puts that information there.
That's fantastic. That's quite a directory you have, by the way. I
mean, thank you very
that's a pretty
much.
thick directory.
Thank you
very
very much.
nicely. Well done.
Wow, we appreciate it.
And I'm just curious, can you share any experiences you've had with any of the movies that have taken place here in Las Vegas, as far as anything maybe humorous or...
We're asked that a lot. It's so much of it is confidential. I mean, it's a situation where
we don't want names. We just want
No. We want names.
Well, Don wants names, but
No, I think a safe one was the show Las Vegas that had the donut shop. There was I guess a donut shop where the girls were not wearing tops.
The waitresses.
The waitresses that served the donuts. And we got quite a few phone calls from people looking for this donut shop that doesn't exist. It was from the TV show. So,
men from around the country.
So it just goes to show the power of television.
Make-believe donut hole.
Yeah. So, that was a kind of a funny story.
But yeah, production-wise, it's I don't have any real fun anecdotes, unfortunately.
Don, what about you?
I don't have the antidote. I'm not talking about that right now. I kind of wanted to revisit the funding part of it, because I was directly involved with my partner for the last 7 years. I wrote the script, the Vegas Wedding Blues thing, about 7-8 years ago, and it's been rewritten and updated and rewritten and punched up, and every time we would do that, even without rewriting, we would have meetings with people who claimed they had funds, and some of them I knew firsthand did, and they were lawyers and they were doctors, and we could have put together a group of folk and make it pretty neat, but recession hit, and all of a sudden everything dried up. Now it's kind of coming back, and we got a handle on people that seem to be interested in the storyline. But my point would be to anybody listening, and I would assume that there are quite a few to this particular topic, and learning from you guys especially, that you never give up. You just never, ever, ever give up. I don't care how bad off you are. I don't care if you're living in a trailer, but keep that script with you at all times, and make sure that when you have a down period and you're not down yourself, then go ahead and do another little pass at it, another rewrite. Because you never know who's going to walk in and read it. Yeah,
it's true. The gentleman who wrote Ocean's 11, I remember going on the original scout for that particular feature film, which was a huge success. Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney and Matt Damon and Brad Pitt. And the writer of that feature film had a very interesting story. He said that about 6 months ago he was living with his mother. He was living in the basement on the couch, and he got his script in the hands and eyes of the right people, and then it went on to be greenlit, of course, and then his life changed. And he pointed out to me just what Don was saying, that I didn't give up. I stuck with the with trying to find the right vehicle for me, and he found Ocean's 11, which was a pretty good vehicle to jumpstart a career. So Don's right, don't give up.
Well, there's a certain philosophy about that, if I may interrupt, Jim. It's true about clicks, and it's true about, if you're a writer, and one of my main things about life in this entertainment industry is writing. And if you are a writer, if you're not down meeting the right people, chances are you're not going to get your script in anybody's hands that are going to make a difference. And we learned that lesson. And you have to tie yourself in with people who know what they're doing and will take a chance on you. Or you go out and independent fund it, and you're taking a huge risk there too.
For distribution afterwards.
Oh, yeah. And you got the P&A, and you got all that kind of stuff you got to pay for.
In case of festival.
Oh, gee whiz, or not, depending on how good the thing turns out, And if you get lucky, you get lucky, but most people don't. And you got to know that. You got to know. I'm talking to a writer now, sitting at home at a computer, going, "Well, the show was really good, but I don't know what to do." Well, what you have to do is you have to find and search out a good agent. I mean, you really have to do that. You should do that. If you do it independently and nobody cares, you're going to get what money you get, and you're going to do it. So it's a tough business, but don't give up.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing I would say for writers, if I can jump in, would be the Writers Guild of America is a great source for people in their website. And the event that we were part of that Eddie mentioned recently, the Ink Tip Summit, was excellent because they actually had a pitch session in there for writers. So people were able to get in front of producers with ideas. And I think as a writer, you have to get creative, like Don was mentioning, in terms of how to get ahead of your competition and how to kind of get your idea out there. And you can't just sit on your couch at home and expect somebody to come calling you saying, I want to make that film that you have in your computer. You have to get that out there. So the nice thing about our screenplay competition is the winner, what we do for the winner is we send it out to production companies for that visibility. And it's, first of all, it's read by, we have professional readers that do the judging of it in Los Angeles. It's a reading service. So these people are already, some of these people work at, studios, some of these people are tied in. So they're all reading about all the different topics. And then we have, of course, the advantage of trying to get it out there in a production company's hands, and that's a real thing. Trying to get the foot in the door for the local writer is the big thing for that.
Right.
Well, that's if I may interrupt. Also, again, I'm sorry, but it's also very important, I think, to attach yourself to a representative that can get you into that door. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you go down in Hollywood and walk around to the so and so, you're not going to get in. They're just not going to put you in the studio. You're not even going to come close, and unless you are, dating the secretary of, the production head. But most of the time, you're not going to do anything. So what you have to do is come in with a script that's so good, and so sharp, and so doable, that they say, I can't resist this kid, and that's the agent talking.
Right,
Then
and that's the key too. It's hard just to get in the door with an agent.
Yes, and you come in with a script that's just fabulous, and the agent's going to be stupid if he doesn't take that, and he may mess around with you as far as your lack of experience. And again, talking to somebody home typing, once you convince him that you got it to do the long run, if you can do that, and you got a sharp script that's sharp, there's no stopping you.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Behind the Scenes with your host, James Kelly, here on KLAV in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world. We can be heard live on the internet, 1230am.com, KLAV1230am.com. We stream live on WordPress, Google+, Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. My guest is Charles, that's a mouthful, is Charles Georcaris.
I just want to know, do I
Harran.
look good? That's all I care about.
And, of course, Don Lewis Barnhart.
I'm going to regret the day that I ever brought that up. I'll stick with pumpkin pie, please.
My poor Gracie.
Well, one of the things...
No, say hi for her.
Hi, Gracie.
Did you guys know that fried green tomatoes took 20 years to get it into producers' hands?
I can believe
Fanny
it.
Fleck took 20 years to get that book into a producer's hands.
I was going to say, it's just, to me, that's it's amazing when you see people like at the Academy Awards saying, I've worked all 10, 15 years, wrote this and have been trying to get the funding and trying to get it, and it's it's a battle, and it's
we're 8 years with this one.
You're 8 years already, yeah.
I have a friend who wrapped on a movie. I guess it's been over a year or so now, a couple of years ago, and it was by Oliver Stone's son. He produced the movie, and it's still sitting there waiting for distribution. I mean, I think people don't comprehend just how many films are made and are still waiting to get distributed.
Well, there's a lot of patty cake going on. There's people that that can take that movie and get it out there and distribute it, and then there's people who are just hanging on to it, use it as tax write-offs, use a lot of stuff that makes a poor filmmaker going, what in the? I'm going independent. I'm going in. Screw these studios. I'm going to go independent. And they come up and they do this thing, and they take the monies, what they got, and they make a film. And they're very proud of it.
Well, I think
you still have to get distribution,
right? And I personally believe that the independent films are changing the industry right now, because we have a lot of major motion pictures that are actually based on an independent film. Like you get discovered at a film festival, and a studio can say, "Let's take and make this a big feature." So, I think if you've got the courage, you definitely should think about going out there and doing independent if you're not getting discovered some other way.
We love the independent films, and I'll tell you what, they don't make movies for people our age. Well, I'm 22, but you guys are a lot older.
Thank you.
But, they're making these movies, the Spider-Mans and the Iron Mans and the, I don't know how many mans there are, Supermans, whatever, and they're all for 13 to 15-year-old kids. So to find a movie, with great dialogue and shot well is hard to find. That's why we love the indies.
Yeah, and we should, in Colorado, they recently had that shooting that took place at the movie theater for Batman when it was released, and we should offer our condolences to those people out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, and how can someone in the industry get listed in the Nevada Film Office's directory?
They can just, the same as obtain it, they can just call us at 702-486-2711. And as of Monday, we're having a relaunch of our website. It's going to be a new look to it and everything, and we'll have everything available online, and that's at nevadafilm.com. You can actually register online. All the information will be available for any filmmakers and any individuals that want to have the ability to be in the directory. And it's a perfect time because we're signing up pretty soon now for the 2013 hardcover edition. That'll be the cutoff date for that is September 28th.
Is that a coffee table version?
The coffee table, yes.
Actually,
I'm sorry, Charles. I just can't resist them.
I was trying to get your nickname in there somehow, but I don't know if I should.
Out of this studio,
Pumpkin Lewis pie.
Yeah, out of this studio.
Pumpkin Lewis pie.
That's funny. That's very funny. Out of this studio, I get called pumpkin pie. We're gonna have a come to Jesus meeting on that one.
Yeah, you'll be going by and someone will go, "There's goes pumpkin pie," or is that pumpkin head?
My poor Gracie's sitting at home going, "I don't know what's going on."
Gentlemen, this is for Ed and Charles. Do you have anything new coming along down the pike for the Nevada Film Office, or any?
Well, I think we mentioned some of the we have that studio filming scouting right now for next year, and then we have a lot of the independents that seem to be calling us that we've been working with over the last few weeks, and it's depending on timing. But I know the individual you talked to is planning for the fall, I believe, for that shoot.
I believe it is in the fall. Yes.
Yeah, we don't have anything major in terms of major feature films that we can announce at this time, though.
What about television productions?
Television.
There's always lots of reality shows. Of course, the success of Pawn Stars has brought on the glut of other reality shows. So there are many. But actually, it's funny, the success of a television show like Pawn Stars actually helps tourism. There was just an article in the RJ the other day about the state tourism department, state tourism museum that has attracted so much more business because of the show Pawn Stars. So lots of reality shows, even though some people don't like them, they do attract a lot of business and a lot of tourism.
And actually, film and tourism is a very interesting subject because it's something that's really tied together. We're seeing around the world where destinations have become very, very popular as a result of movies. Lord of the Rings saw a 400% increase in tourism down in New Zealand, and they had all of the tours of all of the areas for the hobbits and what have you. And even a little small town like Preston, Idaho, became very popular with an independent film, Napoleon Dynamite. And they still to this day have Napoleon parades and events going on.
And the Hangover here.
People come here and want to stay in the Hangover Suite at Caesars
Palace.
So it's something that really drives people, that puts them on planes, it puts them in cars. Field of Dreams is still popular in Iowa from a movie from the 1980s.
Was that Prescott, Arizona?
Preston, Idaho.
Oh, Prescott, Idaho. Two different places.
Preston, Idaho.
Okay. Because they'll kill you if you say Prescott. Prescott. You got to say it just right.
In Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, you got to say it just right. Otherwise, you're labeled as a foreigner.
Oh, yes.
Well, I know that the hotels also get involved in some of these television productions because I know that the Palazzo Venetian has hosted a couple times now Wheel of Fortune. Are you involved in any of those productions at all? Or
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of the game shows and that have come here start with us in terms of trying to find venues, and then the properties have been very aggressive, I think, in trying to make available. We've had several over the years. Let's Make a Deal. And
Wynn had American Idol, and then Venetian, like you said, Palazzo had America's Got Talent, which was the number one show in the summer. So. And then, like Charlie said at the beginning, it's a huge boost when they use Las Vegas, in their title, shot in Las Vegas.
It brings people here who want to see the show. And right now they have something going on at Bally's, I believe, that is one of the game shows going on there.
There's stuff shooting on private property all the time. The hotels.
Yeah, there's amazing how many things in poker shows.
Poker shows.
Oh, yeah.
Award
poker,
shows.
Yeah.
A lot of award shows, people. Yeah, the fights.
Well, we're about to wrap up here, and I would just like to say that I'd like to thank Ed Georcaris Ed Harran and Charles Georcaris and Don Lewis Barnhart for being here today.
It gives me bumps in my goose.
Now, thank you for having the Nevada Film Office. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
yes.
Great. Good to see you.
This is your host, James Kelly, saying we'll be here 2 weeks from now on Tuesday at 2:00 p.m. Next week will be Aspects of Writing with moi, and we're on KLAV 1230 AM on the dial, and also KLAV1230am.com on your computer. We rebroadcast on VegasAllNetRadio.com, and you can log on to www.aspectsofwriting.com to see the show's lineup. On the next show, I will have, and I know it says Aspects of Writing, but that page also carries behind the scenes, so not to confuse anyone. On the next show, I will have a world-renowned choreographer, dancer, and director, Tiger Martina, from the Vegas The Show, located inside the Saks Theater at Planet Hollywood Hotel and Casino on the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. So until next time, this is Behind the Scenes with your host, James Kelly, reminding you, a dream is just a dream unless you make it happen.
Bye, pumpkin pie.
God bless you.